Hey plant fam! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jaclynn. This is my jungle, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you for still being here. So, I hope that you have all been having a very, very happy holiday season. I've been taking a little bit of a break with the content just to kind of give myself a little bit of rest. But I did want to share with you my favorite plants of 2024 before the year is up. So normally we do our monthly favorites and I go through my top 5 favorite plants for the month, but I thought it would be fun if we did, instead of December favorites, the top 10 all-time favorites for 2024. And let me tell you, this was a really hard list to curate. But I tried to be really, really critical and think of the plants that I've had for a while that have really, really stood out to me and have absolutely become some of my favorites. So I'm going to start, I actually put them in order. Normally I don't put them in any particular order, but this time I thought it would be fun if we actually did put them in order. So we're going to start with 10 and we're going to work our way up to number 1. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. Disclaimer, this video is going to be all Hoya and Anthurium because those are my favorites. And even though I have lots of other plants that I definitely love in my collection, if I'm going to be completely honest with myself, my Anthurium and my Hoya just kind of top everything else. So even though there are lots of Ripsalis and maybe some Dischidia and things like that that I also really love in my collection, I just don't love them as much. So number 10 on my list is an Anthurium hybrid that I snagged from Bare Roots Botanicals, and this is my Regale X Bessier, and I am obsessed with her. The lighting is not going to do her justice. I am working on getting a better lighting situation for 2025, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully video quality is going to increase exponentially over the next few months. But this one is literally blue. The camera is not going to pick up on it because there isn't like a really strong light coming from in front of me because that's been making me like really washed out. But this plant is literally blue and I am obsessed with her. So this is her newest leaf. I love that she's kind of wavy. When I posted her over on Instagram, everybody went nuts for her. She's really, really pretty. And I wanted to put her on the list today because I stare at this leaf a lot, like a lot. And she's just absolutely stunning. She's definitely giving Bessier in her veins here, but the Regale comes through in that really rich bluish sheen that she has to her, and I am just obsessed. So I had to put her on the list today at number 10 for my top 10 favorites for 2024. So I did recently up-pot her, and this is why you should up-pot your Anthurium, because she went from this to this. So if your leaves are not upsizing, definitely give your Anthurium a larger pot. I have a video where I talk about all of the reasons why you would want to up pot or upsize your Anthurium and everything that I do and everything that I use if you want to go and check that out. So that's number 10. And I also apologize if you can hear road noise today. It's rainy. It's a really gloomy day here in New Hampshire, and the cars are pretty loud, but we're working on it. Okay, so the next couple of plants on the list are some of my favorite Hoya in my collection, and these should not be surprising. For anybody who's been around for a while, my favorites don't really change that much when it comes to Hoya. I'll definitely add new favorites to the list, but like my OG favorites are still my OG favorites. And the Hoya Ging is no exception to that. So at number 9 today on my list is my Hoya Ging. I just did a whole entire video on this plant specifically, so if you want to go and check that out, I definitely recommend it. But what is not to love about her? Look at the color, look at the veins. She did just bloom for me, but honestly, I didn't catch you guys in time to show you, so I can put a picture on screen here of what the bloom looked like. If you guys follow me over on Instagram, you would have seen it already because I've been posting it like crazy. But of course, I missed the filming window to actually show it to you on camera. But super cute bloom. She is in the Finlaysonii complex, so her bloom was pretty similar to like Calistophylla and things along those lines, but still super cute. So absolutely love this one. Love the veining on the leaves, but I also love the way she sun stresses. So Hoya Ging is number 9 on my list today. No! Oh my goodness, you guys. I just dropped my favorite pot on the floor that my cousin brought me home from Japan, and I've been crying about it for the last 10 minutes, so I'm sorry that I look like this now. Number 8 on my list of my favorites for 2024. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna glue it back together. Number 8 is my Hoya Pubicalyx Pink Silver Ghost. I'm not sure. Honestly, I feel like the name is Pink Silver Ghost. Yeah. She was pretty pricey when I got her, but the prices have come down, and obviously she gets her name from the fact that she's silver and she sun stresses to this really beautiful pink. So I am probably going to repot her and put her on a trellis very soon. And I just love her. She's just got these really beautiful leaves. She is definitely newer to my collection in this last year, but she... Oh, I just hit my face in this. I'm a disaster, you guys. I just hit myself in the face with this tendril. But she's definitely newer to my collection this past year, and she has very quickly shot up to being one of my favorites. So if you don't have this one yet, I definitely recommend her. She's super duper cute, and we love her. We are into her here. So I probably should have put on like... I want to put my ring light on, but I'm like afraid that it's going to be too bright. But Hoya Pubicalyx Pink Silver is number 8 on my list today. And I'm fine. Everything's going to be fine, you guys. I have this really cute... It's usually this plant. I'll just show you this one next, even though it's out of order. She's bleeding because I dropped her on the floor. So that's fun. But this one is my Hoya obscura variegated, and normally she's in my really cute little turtle mug that my cousin brought me home from Japan, but I just threw it on the floor and broke it into a bunch of pieces. I'm fine. So this is number 7 on my list, and normally she's in a really cute little pot, but I love her just as a plant. I have the green variety in my window over there. She gets sun stressed, but I just absolutely love this little variegated babe. Some of her leaves are not really super variegated, but this side definitely is. And of course they fade out as they age into more of like a green on green type of situation, but the new leaves come in super chartreusey and really stinky. Look at this little baby one over here. Super cute. So thankfully the plant didn't also like get damaged, but oh my god, my heart is like literally broken, and I just hope that I can glue it back together because it's not something that I can replace. So Hoya obscura variegated is number... What number are we on? 7 on my list. Alright, so remember how at the beginning of this video I said that this was all going to be Anthurium and Hoya? Well, I lied because I forgot that I put this one on the list behind me. So number 6 on my list today is my Monstera deliciosa sport variegated. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get her the whole thing in frame, to be completely honest with you. I got a new chair in here. I got lots going on in here, but this is her, and this is her newest leaf. You can see this really beautiful variegation coming in on her. So if you guys remember, half of the plant is green. There's 2 plants in here, and the other plant is variegated. So if you guys remember, I found her at Lowe's last spring, and she was much smaller than this, like much smaller. And when I got her, I think that like this was like her newest leaf out, and she has honestly just become more and more variegated as time goes on. The more leaves she gives me, the more variegation she gives me. This new one is not hardened off yet. It literally just unfurled like this morning, but you can still see where her variegation is going to be. There's some down here, and she's got really great color on her petioles, so I'm fairly confident that she's going to continue to be variegated. I did do a whole entire video on sport variegation and like what it even is, and just like a deep dive into this type of variegation in general that we tend to see. And I'm just like obsessed with her because she is technically a large form deliciosa. She is not Borsigiana. And if you guys remember, I just did a Monstera elbow video where I talked about the difference between deliciosa and Borsigiana, the small form and the large form. So if you watched that video, you would know that the Borsigiana smaller form of this plant is not capable of getting as large. And every single elbow on the market that you're going to see is going to be Borsigiana unless it is otherwise stated, because the deliciosa elbow variegated plants are very sought after and very expensive. So the fact that I found this at Lowe's is insane to me, because variegation is spontaneous. So this plant is not necessarily any different than any other variegated deliciosa. She is just gonna be a beast one day, and she certainly does just continue to get larger and larger. Sorry for all the weird noises that the pot is making. So you can see how big these leaves are. The deliciosas tend to get more of like the mid-rib fenestrations, so they will just get a lot more fenestrated, but I had to show you her newest leaf. She's gonna get much bigger than this probably, and she's going to be Gorgina. She is on a moss pole, which I 10 out of 10 recommend doing for your Monstera, or they're just gonna be all over the place. I have to contain her stems or she will take up the whole room. And the thing I really love about like an actual moss pole, like this has actual moss perlite in it, is that she can just root directly in there. So you can actually see this aerial root is coming from all the way down here. There's more down in here too. There's a little bit of a glare, so you might not be able to see it, but there is a root that comes in it. It sticks out up here even. So I do recommend like actual moss poles for your aroids, especially for your Monstera, because it's going to make it a lot easier for you to contain this plant, as well as when it comes time to propagate her, she's already going to be rooted into the pole, and you're going to have a lot more success propagating her. But I am going to do a whole entire video dedicated to Monstera elbow and how to get better variegation, how to get your variegation back, how to cut it, where to cut it, when to cut it, all of those questions I will answer for you guys. So if you do have questions about it, feel free to leave it in the comments so that I do not forget to address your question in that video. Number 6 on my list of favorites. I can't leave her off of it. She's been such a dream for me. Even the green leaves are beautiful, but of course we love we love the variegated side of her. Not that you can even really see her right now, but I'm gonna put her back on the floor here where you can see her. So you can see her nice, beautiful leaves behind me here. One of them did get a little bit brown at some point in time, but otherwise the rest of them are doing really, really well. So love her. Okay, so rolling on into the second half of this list, at number 5 is a little cutie who does live behind me on the shelf here. And that is my Hoya intervariegated. And y'all should not be surprised. I did a whole video about her too for my 12 days of Plantmas. Sidebar, did not get to actually film day 12. I filmed it and my audio was not on. So I do actually need to refilm that for you guys, but it is coming because I do want to do a deep dive into that particular plant. And we are going to continue on with our deep dives. I'm thinking maybe like once a week we can just talk about one specific type of plant. So this was one that I did a whole video on as well, if you guys want to go and check that out. But she is Hoya intervariegated, and what is not to love about her? I bought 2 of her. I got her from Gardino Nursery down in Florida. 10 out of 10 recommend if you guys are looking for really nice, healthy Hoya. I purchased 2 of this plant from them and I potted them together into one. So she's been doing really, really well for me and I'm just obsessed with her. She is the cutest little trailing Hoya. Her leaves come in a pink color and they will sun stress pink if you give them bright enough light. She lives behind me on these shelves here, so she's not getting like super intense light because, well, my Anthurium don't want really, really bright, intense light, so I don't give them bright, intense light. So the Hoya that live on the shelves there, they don't really get as much light. So I do want to move her eventually to like a window or closer to a grow light so that she can turn pink. I just really also enjoy her on the shelf behind me because she's super cute, but she is kind of covered up by giant Anthurium leaves. So maybe it's not the best place for her, but I just really love her a lot. So that is why I put her at number 5 on the list today of my favorites for the year 2024. Okay, so number 4 on my list today is another plant that I did a dedicated video about because I love her, and that is my Anthurium florum. Look at her. How big this leaf is. I'm just obsessed with her, and she's already working on another leaf. This has been a phenomenal grower for me, and honestly she's overdue for a repot. I did thrift this cutie little ceramic that she's in now. I think it's so cute. But florum Anthurium, she is a number 4 on my list of favorites because this is just one of those plants that every time a new leaf comes out, I'm like, you're so pretty. And it's not even that she's like, oh my gosh, so stunning. It's the shape of the leaves, and they are velvety, and I just love her. She's so cute. So this leaf here is just about over a foot long. I think she's like maybe, I think we measured at like 16 inches, maybe potentially a little bit less than that. But she has the potential to get like, I saw somebody on Reddit, their leaves were like insanely long. I forget how long they were, but it was like kind of crazy. It was like his whole entire body was like the length of this leaf. So if you don't have this one in your collection, I 10 out of 10 recommend it, even if you're not super big into Anthurium, because I think this is just a really unique looking plant. She looks super cute, just like hanging out on a top shelf, trailing down. And even if you have like a cabinet or something, like a nice tall cabinet, I think this would look so cute on top of it, letting it kind of trail down the side. She doesn't need a crazy amount of humidity, in my opinion. I feel like you can definitely get away with growing her in a more ambient situation. You're just going to want to make sure that you buy it as a smaller seedling so that it's a little bit easier for you to acclimate it to your environment. When I snagged her, she didn't have like any of these larger leaves here. She was just an itty bitty little baby, but she grew very, very quickly for me. So I definitely encourage you, if you're going to grow Anthurium in your ambient conditions, to get them small, get them as babies, so that it's a little bit easier for you to acclimate them to their environment, as opposed to getting them as adults and they're already nice and big and established. They're probably growing in ideal conditions wherever they've been grown. And then when you bring it into your home and you drastically change those conditions, they just don't do as well. They don't acclimate as well as they would if they were still babies, if that makes sense. So Anthurium pallidiflorum is number 4 on my list today. So the top 3 plants for 2024 are literally these 3 guys behind me here. So I'm going to start with this one. And this gorgeous, handsome fella is my Anthurium forgettii X luxurians. And to be honest with you, the lighting's not doing her justice. I'm going to have to fix the lighting on the back end because I've got like my grow lights coming from over here, and then there's nothing over. We're fine. Everything's fine. So I'm obsessed with this plant, and a lot of you are also obsessed with this plant online. If you don't follow me over on Instagram, you definitely should, because that is where I post all of my like really nice photos of my plants, where you can really see a lot more of their beauty and their characteristics, because it's a little bit easier to capture that in a photo than it is to capture it on video when I have you front facing like this. So forgettii luxurians, this one is from Bare Root Botanicals, and I'm obsessed, they're obsessed, you're obsessed. So many people are obsessed with this plant, and I am happy to let you guys know that not only is she working on another leaf, but she is also in caterpillar. You can see this bump right here. I don't know if this leaf is going to give me an inflow, but I'm very confident that we're going to get one soon. She is looking kind of preggo. Look at her. She's kind of raised up. So we are hoping that she's going to give us an inflow, 2 ideally inflows, not too far apart from each other, because I would love to self-pollinate her and be able to grow out some babies to share with you guys, because the characteristics on this plant are just to die for. This is what I would consider a premium forgettii Lux. Not that other forgettii Lux are not beautiful, but there was just something about the characteristics on this one that really stood out to me, and have very clearly stood out to other people as well. So I'm very excited to get to breeding with her in 2025. So stay tuned. Make sure you're following me over on Palm Street as well, so that you don't miss out when I do make all the babies. We got a lot in the works for 2025 that I'm very excited about. So stay tuned. And come and hang out over on Palm Street if you're interested in buying plants from me. So, forgettii Lux is number 3. And then number 2 is right next to her here. And this is my Michelle Zara X Zara. This one is from Doc Block. And I'm happy to announce that she is also doing the same thing. She's working on a new leaf right here, and she has an active inflow. So I'm very excited to potentially also self-pollinate her. With a lot of these plants, I don't know, I just don't really want to cross them with other things, because I love them on their own, that I really want to like make more of them first, and then I feel like I can cross it with other stuff after that, because like I really just want to make more of these. But I do think it would be fun to cross this with another one of my plants maybe that has some really striking veining, and just see what we can get out of it. So my plan for her is to self her as well, because I'm just so obsessed with her that I don't want to muddy up her genetics by putting anything else in her, because I think that Doc really hit the nail on the head with this one. And I am going to be doing a deep dive into the Michelle. I did have a really nice conversation with Doc Block. He was very kind to chat with me and tell me all about the origins of his plants. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. Like I said, I did film it, but I didn't have my audio on, so I have to refilm it for you guys. But stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good one. So we're going to be debunking some misinformation as well. There's a lot of drama, you guys, in the Anthurium world for no reason. But anyway, this is number 2 on my list because, like, hi, can you blame me? I don't know if you guys remember when I purchased her, but she was, what, $200, I think, at a local plant nursery, and that was a steal. And one of the reasons why I knew that she was going to be a good investment for me is because she was caterpillar size, which means inflow, which means babies. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I'll be able to make my money back on her probably towards the end of 2025 because it does take a long time for the pollination process to happen, for seeds to happen. Then the seeds have to grow and get big enough for me to like actually see their characteristics. So it does take a while, but I'm very excited about this one. So Michelle x Zara crossed again with Zara, but she is giving Michelle. Like, she honestly looks just like a super dark, sexy Michelle. So I'm not mad at her. I'm obsessed with her, and that is why she is at number 2 on my list today. She's very, very happy, healthy. I repotted her into a larger pot than what she came in, and clearly she is happy about that. So hopefully this leaf will also push an inflow and we can have an easier time self-pollinating her. I am going to film more of the process of how to pollinate your plants and all the things you guys need to know. So stay tuned for that as well. So if you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. You're watching my videos and you're not subscribed. That's kind of rude. Okay, so number 1 for 2024 shouldn't be surprising. I had to put this one at number 1 because this was kind of like my gateway Anthurium. So it wasn't my first Anthurium, but it was definitely the first one that I bought that was a little bit pricier, a little bit nicer, and it's been nothing but a dream for me to grow her. She has upsized insanely quickly, and watching her grow and thrive really just kind of instilled this like obsession in me with Anthurium. And I got her right here. She has a new leaf, so I just need to be careful. And this is my Anthurium papalinum Woo 6 crossed with Ace of Spades dark form. This is her newest leaf out. She's gorge. She's not done hardening off yet, so she may potentially even get a little bit bigger. But you guys, when I got her, this was her newest leaf. Look at how teeny tiny. And I've only had her for like 7 or 8 months, I want to say. So look at how much she has upsized for me. I can't even barely fit her in the frame. She's super dark, super sexy. She gets this really beautiful like kind of maroon color to her that her emergence will show for like a few days as they're progressing, but just I just love her. And she is also looking like she's going into caterpillar, which you can see here. She's kind of got like a little pregnancy bump. So there are a couple of ways to know when your Anthurium are getting ready to give you inflows, and I will definitely address that with you guys in another video. So number 1 on my list today is this guy. This one is from Woohoo Tropicals, and I love her. She's giving Ace of Spades. I mean, you can see the pap in there for sure, but like the Ace of Spades is just like boom. So really great combo if you are into the dark boys. And I don't know. I don't think I'm going to self this one, to be completely honest with you. I think that I'm going to want to like crossbreed it with something else. It's just, what else? You know, do I want to breed it with something that has colorful veins? Do I want to breed it with something that has a flat sinus? Like, I'm not really sure. So I guess we'll find out though. So she's number 1 on my list because I felt like it would be wrong to put any of the other plants that I acquired after her at number 1, because she really kind of is, she's like my Hoya calistophylla. If you guys have been around, I always say that Hoya calistophylla was my gateway Hoya. She wasn't my first Hoya in my collection. That was a Crimson Queen. Still love her too. But the calistophylla was the first one that I got that was a little bit more expensive, that really just like sparked that obsession with collecting the genus. And this is the same situation for Anthurium. This is the one. This was the gateway Anthurium. She was not my first Anthurium. I did start with cheaper stuff than her and like little seedlings and such, but she was my first big splurge, my first expensive Anthurium, and I do not regret it whatsoever. She has been a dream to grow. She has been my fastest grower. She's constantly putting out a new leaf for me. She's very robust, very vigorous, and I love her. So that is it, you guys, for my list of my top 10 favorites for 2024. And oh my, what a roller coaster it has been. Not just this video, but this whole entire year. So I'm very much so looking forward to 2025. I have a lot of really exciting things happening in here. A lot of really exciting changes that are going to be coming to the channel, to my business. So make sure you guys stay tuned, because 2025, girl, it's going to be our year. It's going to be a good one. I promise, okay? It's gonna be better. This year is going to be better. We're gonna walk into 2025 with nothing but positive vibes, okay? So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you should definitely give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from me. Pray for me that I can put my little sentimental turtle mug back together. I'm gonna go crazy glue it back together as soon as I'm done here and try not to cry about it again. So I love you guys. I hope you've had an absolutely amazing year. I hope you've had an amazing holiday season, and I hope that you continue to have an amazing new year, and I will see you guys again very soon with some new videos in 2025. So I love you, and I hope I see you soon. Bye.